Personally, I was a techno DJ from acid house and all that before. That's what I was doing in production as well. So I was kind of quite heavily involved in producing techno and house, like at a studio in East London. It wasn't my choosing, but that's what they worked on there. We wanted to take it somewhere else a bit, and also we both like breakbeats a lot and stuff you can do with drums, hip hop influence kind of music.
Exactly. Always sort of more into the harder sounding music genres like techno, like Matt said, and stuff like that. So yeah, that was definitely a big influence.
I had a drum kit when I was about 13. So I played.
I wasn't so lucky. I had a bass kick and a snare, but I never got. Oh, and a cymbal, but I never got a hi-hat. I really wanted a hi-hat. We were in New York, and we were doing one of our very first gigs together. Virus wasn't established at this point, obviously. We were just kind of like putting tunes around. We'd done a couple of releases for Metalheads, a tune or two for Prototype, and we had this sort of abundance of music, and we decided that we needed to start our own thing and put them out ourselves, because some of the tracks we made weren't suitable for certain labels at the time. Like, you know, there was a definite Prototype sound and Metalhead sound, and these were slightly left field of that, so we decided we needed to do our own imprint, and we came up with the name Virus. That's one of the things I actually remember.
Infectious thing, yeah, you know.
And the sound was kind of organic and growing at the time, so it was quite suitable.
Well, first release was Medicine
Punch Bag.
Medicine and Punch Bag, which, you know, is a good example of the kind of tunes that the other labels weren't really up for putting out, to be honest with you, because it's like raw production and the arrangements are like pretty free form.
A quite gritty, sort of dirty sound.
It didn't start off as an album. It was originally going to be a lot of singles, but, you know, it just started to shape up to be something a bit more than that.
Yeah, it happened sort of by accident, really. We were just really productive around that time. We had a great studio in Soho that was really tight, had amazing sound in there, pure, clean signal in there, and we just sort of had this abundance of tracks and realised that sort of, you know, with 10 of them together, it was actually quite a good setup for an album. So I decided to go with it. But like Matt said, it was initially we were just working on tracks just for 12s, and then realised we've got like 13, 14 tunes, of which 10 or 11 will make a great sounding album.
Plus the fact, I don't think at the time people were taking drum and bass, being a drum and bass artist, that seriously. Some people had signed to major labels, but they were struggling with the way they work and the demands they put on people to change their music to be more commercial, you know. I mean, whether they're outright telling you have to change it or whether there's just unsaid kind of pressure, I don't know, but those people were struggling with their projects, and it seemed like for us it was just something that was happening to us, you know, like no control over it or anyone else controlling it, so it was good. It was a way of doing something different, really. Yeah, so we'd go into the studio and we wouldn't leave till we finished what we were doing, because in those days you're working with the analogue gear, you're not going to recall your mix again, you have to move on to the next thing, so you can't walk away. It's not like you can now. I can go home and take a break, have some dinner, come back and work on a different tune in the evening, maybe to go back the next day, because everything recalls back to how it was, but, you know, you can never get back what you had as far as those tunes are concerned. They were built with lots of bits of gear all wired together in different orders and stuff, so.
We had a Mackie desk,
Yeah, Mackie.
Akai samplers.
EMI samplers for Wormhole, we had EMI samplers.
Kind of our sound, really, the drums and the bass, sort of the skeleton of the tracks were running through these Focusrite EQs.
When we built that studio, I built with a friend of mine the whole room and everything, and every wire was correctly put in, and like, you know, it was just a very well constructed studio. That when you're working on analog gear, like your signal path is like everything, do you know what I mean?
Plus the room as well, it wasn't big, it was a tight, like a shoebox of a room. So the sound in there was amazing.
Yeah.
There was no flapping around of top end or anything, it was all just tight in
Yeah,
there.
very tight.
It's less fun in the studio now as far as like sort of, you know, hands-on goes.
Although you've got so much you can use, you're also limited by the way they've built these computer programs, you know?
The whole sound's just become a bit more shiny now.
Yeah.
You know, you've lost the sort of authentic, organic, sort of rich feel of the music, and all the mix downs are kind of, I don't know, they're just more plastic, more synthetic kind of sound nowadays.
I've put it back together recently a couple of times, and you can't match up to the sonic level of a computer mix down, so you know, in order to get it to sound like a lot of other people's music, it doesn't have that quality anymore.
Right.
You'd have to go to everyone in the whole drum and bass thing. Look, let's all stop putting all this top end on everything. Just so that I can make music again.
Yeah, ain't gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
When you put it next to one of these overloaded, fat, you know, massively loud sounding tunes out of a computer, and then you line it up against something you made on the old gear, it just doesn't have the same presence, really.
No.
There are some people out there that found a happy medium. I think there's a lot to be said for that,
Yeah.
sort of combining the two, you know.